All right, good evening and welcome back to The Buzz with me, Delano, right here on Relax Radio, RELAKS Radio. Hope you're feeling nice and relaxed this Friday evening. It's 6:10 at the moment. You probably might be even getting ready for the weekend. And you might be thinking about, what if I got the chance to travel around, visit places in the UK which I haven't been to? Well, I've got a list of places and things that you can go and check out once lockdown restrictions are lifted. It is not a surprise that the best things for you to do in the UK are varied and fascinating because the UK is a huge space and there's so many different dialects, ancient Celtic languages, and unique communities, traditions, myths, and legends for you to check out. There are surfer havens and soft sandy beaches. If you haven't heard of it, there are in the UK, and also rugged rock formations, punishing mountain climbs, and deep glassy lochs, all waiting to be discovered. Now, the Prime Minister has set out a lockdown exit plan, and it probably won't be too long until we can get out and explore all the UK has to offer. There's going to be day trips in England, probably will be allowed for March 29th. When the nationwide stay at home order is lifted, and it will be possible to stay overnight in self catered accommodation from the 12th of April. And on the 17th of May, hotels, hostels, and B&Bs should also be able to open again. Now, this is going to mean that it's time for you to start planning visits to rural spots and promising lush wood and greenery, ancient woodland, utter silence, and nights so dark you can see all the stars, and to the UK's towns and cities from Manchester to Bristol, Edinburgh, Belfast, Oxford, York, and London, among others, home to striking modern architecture, historical landmarks, and incredible celebrations of culture, plus with shops, bars, pubs, and restaurants all due to be open again before summer is in full swing. Hopefully, keeping our fingers crossed, we'll be able to embrace everything that the UK has to offer. All right. But this is all a big hopefully because it all depends on how the COVID-19 pandemic plays out and if these lockdown restrictions will be lifted in the time to come. All right. Now, you need to note though that travel from England to Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland is currently not allowed. Overnight stays are currently not allowed, and facilities and businesses in the towns and villages that I mentioned will be closed at the moment. Government advice is to avoid public transport, so don't travel by train or bus, and you need to be mindful of the people who live locally. And you need to check whether car parks are open before you set off and adhere to social distancing guidelines when you visit places as well, when you get the chance to visit. And these are a list of the best things to do in the UK because overseas travel is still restricted. And until you can freely travel overseas wherever you want to travel to, please remember that there are plenty of gems in England which you probably have not even heard of. So here's a list of stuff which you can check out in England itself. And once the restrictions are lifted, maybe hopefully you will be able to visit one or two of these places and experience some of these things. All right. So the first one I want to share with you is that you can laugh out loud at the Edinburgh Fringe. Now, each August, the capital of Scotland is taken over by comedians and performers for a month of shows, plays, and theatre. And you can expect a mix of first timers and big name stars, new material, old favorites, snappy one liners, and unusual experimental comedy. And it's the world's largest art festival and transforms Edinburgh into a pulsating, exciting hive of energy. Now, you can turn up with a cluster of tickets in your pocket or plan nothing and see where the Fringe takes you. This is due to take place from the 6th of August to the 30th of August 2021. But keep in mind that these are all dependent on what the restrictions would be at the time. All right. Just keep that in mind when I mention about these places. All right. The second place that you can check out is to take a tour of the UK's incredible national parks. Now, the UK might be small, but its countryside is mighty and incredibly diverse. So you get rolling green hills and ancient woodland to impressive mountain peaks, idyllic lakes, and rugged moors. To see all the different kinds of landscapes that the UK call its own, you can take a tour of the UK's 15 national parks, from the flat Norfolk Broads to the wilds of Exmoor, to the high drama of the Lake District and Peak District, and the internationally recognized dark skies of Northumberland. All right, so take a tour of the UK's incredible national parks when you can. All right, the next place would be for you to get a taste for magic on the Cornish Coast. There's something mysterious about the atmospheric moors and misty cliff tops of Cornwall, don't you think? And it's not a wonder that it's the site of so many myths and legends, right? Even the most skeptical visitors will end up falling for Cornwall's strange and magical charms after you visit Tinsgel, the impressive ruins of a castle on a dramatic stretch of coastline. And the romantic site is linked to the legend of King Arthur, and low tide reveals Merlin's cave on the beach below. Afterwards, you can pop up along the coast to the tiny village of Boscastle for a visit to the Museum of Witchcraft and Magic, where you get the largest collection of objects relating to magic in the world. Pretty fascinating, isn't it? The Cornish Coast. And that is your third destination. The fourth destination would be to come up with your own conspiracy theories at Stonehenge. Now, this is the world famous prehistoric stone circle on Salisbury Plain, which attracts millions of visitors a year when before the COVID-19 pandemic and all that. But its popularity doesn't detract from its intrigue, though. Were these imposing standing stones, blue stones from over 150 miles away in Wales, a celestial calendar, a burial ground, or a site for sacrifice? You can let your imagination run wild. Was it built by Merlin the wizard and a band of giants? Are its origins supernatural, or is it even extraterrestrial? Those are the questions that people ask. Or is it just an incredible feat of human will? You can visit to figure out for yourself what you think the true story of the Stonehenge is. All right, so that is the fourth place that you could visit. The fifth place would be to spot seals at Blakeney Point in Norfolk. The North Norfolk coastline is a sweet place for you to spend a day or two. You can head to Blakeney in search of the area's salt marshes, sand dunes, seabirds, and seal population. The National Nature Reserve is home to a thriving grey seal colony. You can check that out. And to see the delightful creatures, including thousands of pups from a safe distance, you can take a boat from the Moston Quay. And once you're back on dry land, you can explore the pretty villages of Blakeney, Stiffkey, Clay next to the sea, and Wells next to the sea, as well as the wide expanse of the Hockham Beach. All right, so you can spot the seals at Blakeney Point in Norfolk, and that is your fifth destination in the UK itself. The sixth one would be that you could go fossil hunting on the Jurassic Coast. It's a 95-mile stretch of South England shoreline called the Jurassic Coast. It's famous for its unique geology, and running from Exmouth in Devon to Studland Bay in Dorset, the rocks record 185 million years of the Earth's history. Did you know that? And they look pretty good as well. You can check it out. Highlights include the beautiful cliffs at Beer, the historic seaside town of Lyme Regis, the sweeping shingle ridge of Chesil Beach, Old Harry Rocks, and the West Bay's Golden Sands. And you can make sure that you don't miss out on Lulworth Cove, a breathtakingly beautiful blue secluded bay, or its neighbor, the grand natural limestone arch of Durdledore. Some beautiful places to see right here in the UK itself. And I think I've got time to cover one more place for you before I head into a short break. The next one would be to pick a side in a centuries-old rivalry. Now, the universities of Oxford and Cambridge, which are the oldest and for a long time the only universities in England and Wales, they have a rivalry which goes back a long way. These days, it's a friendly one, which acknowledges the academic prowess and similarities between the two university cities. Both have beautiful buildings, world-famous university alumni, iconic publishing houses, respected libraries, brilliant museums, and rivers running through their heart where students, locals, and visitors can be found floating around on punts. So check it out. You can visit both and decide who you want to cheer on during the annual boat race between the two universities on the Thames in London. That was the seventh spot which you could check out, where you can pick a side in a centuries-old rivalry between the universities of Oxford and Cambridge, the oldest and for a long time the only universities in England and Wales. All right, so this I'm talking about places in the UK itself where you can visit, and the best things that you can do in the UK. I'm talking about this because of the restrictions in place on foreign travel, and also because local travel restrictions may be lifted in time to come, depending on how the pandemic situation plays out. All right. You're checking out The Buzz right now with me, Delano, right here on Relax Radio. I'm going to be with you till 7 p.m. Time for you right now is exactly 6:20 in the evening on the 19th of March, Friday, with the weekend just here. And also don't forget that we're currently going live on our Facebook page as well as on YouTube. And you can also listen to us via our app Relax Radio. That's RELAKS Radio, which is available on the App Store and the Play Store. Good evening.